Good morning, everyone. I'm doing my John Maxwell now. And so today's chapter, I'm focusing on speaking into people's lives. I think on our teams, it's important to know that what we're speaking into people's lives is going to make or break our teams. And I'm going to use the sports analogy because I like sports. And ironically, that's one of the areas where I did best in when I was working in supporting sports initiatives in customer service. It's not a surprise because if you have a passion for something, then you're going to do better than people expect you to do. And I didn't have to deal with people buying sex toys or lingerie for their partners, telling me about their sex lives and things like that. So that helped my mental health as well. But when we're looking at our teams, if we're encouraging our teams, if we're motivating them, if we're speaking good into their lives, people are going to perform better than if we're speaking bad into their lives. So when we have our team meetings, we always try to focus on what worked, what went well, and then look at, gently pointing out, okay, maybe you can do this differently next time. And that usually helps people. It helps people to feel that, okay, they've got something to contribute and they can make a difference on the team. And we back it up with action. So one of the things that I've been part of is my volunteering, whether that's in the church or other non-profits. And sometimes what we do is we will have events. So we'll have a volunteer appreciation event, or we'll have gifts sent out to people to surprise them. And that's a nice thing to do because then it makes people feel that their contributions are valued and it's not just lip service. Because everyone can say, oh, we have the best team. But if people don't feel they're being compensated fairly, they can't make ends meet, they have to work all hours of the day to try to do that, then that doesn't motivate people. And then we look beyond the past to focus on the present because things are always changing, especially in today's world where we have technology replacing jobs. We're always looking for new opportunities, new ways to do things, and new ways to help people to adjust. For example, in the church, we didn't have that many of the services streamed when Pope Francis was traveling, but now we have a lot more. And now that he's passed away, we can go back and look at those things. We can look at the videos, read the messages, and those are ways of encouraging us the same way we read the scriptures. You could say, well, why do you need to look at the past? Forget about it, live in the present. Well, then you need to throw away the Bible because that's over 2,000 years old. And John Maxwell gives a nice example in here where there was a teacher that got the children in her class to write down all the things that they liked about each other, and they exchanged the notes. And years later, a soldier died, and they found this note folded up and in his pocket. So things like that can be meaningful and they can help us, they can motivate us. In years to come, you don't know how it's going to touch somebody. And it's important to remember that encouragement goes a long way down the line. And for me, I would give the personal encouragement of my health because whenever I tell people it's our food that we're eating that's giving us fatty livers and high blood pressure, and it's the lifestyle in Canada, nobody believes me. They're like, oh, no, it's you. But now people who are in authority are coming out and saying it. I have my own authority, but people are very disrespectful of it. They don't respect my authority as a spiritual director. I get treated horribly in workplaces. I don't get given the days off when I need them. I don't get a day shift. So when I tell them, they don't want to listen. And then they go and tell the executive or whoever, oh, she's saying this. So they have no respect for my education, for what I'm bringing to the table. So I just don't bother anymore. But now other people are coming out. We have priests coming here from India who are talking about how the food that's being sprayed with chemicals is being imported into the US and Canada. And now people here are getting cancers and getting sick. But when I was saying it, it was like, oh, who is she? Really? That's the response that I get. So it's good that it's coming through other priests, it's coming through other lay spiritual leaders in the community, and now it's coming from Robert Kennedy in America, where he's talking about the chemtrails and he's talking about all the things they're putting in our foods, which are basically making us get fat. I mean, if you're eating a healthy, balanced meal, if you're eating basic things like fruits and vegetables and things like that, you shouldn't end up being obese like me. I'm considered obese in Canada. It's slightly obese, but it's still obese. And I'm doing the same things I always do. When it's summertime, I go swimming, I go walking in the trails here, I exercise. So I shouldn't end up being obese. But thankfully, my doctor said my results came back good this time. So I just have to continue with my medication. And I've been under too much pressure. I've been in and out of jobs since I came to this country. So it's been very, very hard for me financially. And do I deserve it? Does anybody deserve it? No, but discrimination also plays a part in that. Because if it's not my accent, it's the fact that I came here from Zimbabwe, or it's the fact that the executive at TD in 2007 didn't have a position for me, and always looking at me with skepticism. So that's why I like to go to Regis College, because I'm at home there. I'm comfortable there, because that's where I got my encouragement. That's where I was accepted. And the same thing with Damien Howard. I used to tell Father Reddy, I want to go back to England, I want to go to Damien. And he used to always say, you can't go. I said, no, I want to go. I write to him all the time and I tell him I want to come back to England. And he used to just say, no, you can't go. So Father Reddy passed away now. But I always used to tell him, I miss England. So that's part of the life journey as an immigrant when you come to Canada. And it's not just happening to me, but when you tell people, they don't want to listen. And now we've created a society of sick people, because that's basically what it is. They push and push and push until you actually do have to end up taking drugs, and you do have to end up being in counseling or something, because if you're normal, nobody appreciates it. Nobody is happy that you're normal and you don't have any psychological problems and that you're doing well. They push and push and push until they take everything away from you. And then they'll say, oh, well, we had the best intentions. Well, no, actually you didn't. Because when people like me were telling you what was wrong and what was happening and what would be a better way, you didn't want to listen. So that's part of the Christian journey, unfortunately. All these messages that are coming out, some of them are real, some of them are based on real Christian revelation, but some of it is man-made. Some of it people make up because they can see what's happening. But anyway, for me, I know that what has happened to me could have easily been avoided. If I had been given a day shift, if I had been accommodated, if people had respected me, things would have been very, very different, but they've not. So I just have to adjust and carry on and look for that next opportunity. And hopefully, because I even have a doctor's note now, it will be a day shift, because when I told them I can't work overnight, I was not given the option of going on short-term disability and claiming EI. I was basically told, well, that's the job, and if you don't want it, then we're going to fire you. We're going to terminate your employment. So they say that they have all these laws in Canada, but they don't uphold any of them. They protect the business. And that's just the reality. And if you're coming here, you have to be prepared for that. Because you can take them to court, you can get a lawyer and all of that, but at the end of all that, they'll make your life a living hell, like they did with me. Set up calls, go through their lawyers, do everything, and in the end, it's very unlikely that you'll win, because they'll do what Credit Suisse did to the Vatican. They turned it round and said that, oh, the priests told us what to do. So are the priests financiers? They like to blame everybody else except take their own responsibility. That's what the corporations do. And I'm glad that the leaders in America are sick of it. I'm glad that J.D. Vance got to meet the Pope, and that Robert Kennedy and all these people the Kennedy Jr., I should say, are exposing BlackRock and all these companies. Because when people like me speak up, we get punished for it. And so we don't bother anymore. Some of us have done it through organizations like the One Campaign. But again, we don't get chosen for those leadership positions, those paid positions. And many of us who volunteer with Bono, we're very skeptical of him anyway. He can say he loves us, but we're like, yeah, whatever, Bono. It's not like you come here to see us, to spend time with us. The people that you love are the people that you employed, because they're the ones that you have meetings with, that you talk to. They're the ones that you trust. So we do whatever we can. Yes, we help, because some of us grew up in Africa. We were born there. But even with the people that ran it for him before, they don't always do what he wants, because sometimes he doesn't know what he's doing. So we do have to do what's best for us as well. And it's important to remember that in our decisions for ourselves and for our teams, because if you keep putting people down, if you keep putting people like me, who are your best educated, your team players, your leaders in the community, you keep doing us down, you're going to land up with a society of sick people. And that's just the reality. It's just the reality. And it's not, now I'm glad it's not just me saying it. It's coming from John Maxwell. It's coming from Robert Kennedy Jr. It's coming from people in Africa. And it's good. Because when I said it, everyone was like, ah, there she goes again. You are the problem. You are upsetting everyone. Can't you see what you're doing? Well, you know what? Reflect on your own life for a change. Reflect on what you are doing as a manager and what you are doing to me. And maybe then you'll grow up and you'll see a difference.